If we have a folder where we want collaboration to happen, the permissions can get tricky. As users create documents, they become the owners, and depending on the permission setup, others may not have access to edit them. We could resolve this somewhat by setting very open permissions on all the files as they're created. But there's a better way. We can configure a folder to give files created inside of it the same group designation as the parent folder, making sure that anyone editing files in the folder, as long as they have access to it, can work on the same files without having specifically set up the group permissions for every file. I'll create a folder here at the root of my drive called Shared with mkdir shared. And I'll set the group on it to Finance with chgroup Finance Shared. I'll set the permissions for the group so group members can write to the folder with chmod group plus write and shared. Now we need to find a few users that are in our finance group. So let's take a look at etc group, and I can see here Pat is in the finance group. Let's add Mike to the finance group as well with usermod a capital G finance Mike, and check out that group file again. Now both Pat and Mike are in the finance group. I'll switch over to the Mike user and move to my shared folder. Now if I create a file, I'll say touch file1 and take a look at it, I can see that my user has the user ownership and the group ownership of this file. So other people, like people in the finance group, wouldn't be able to edit this file. I'll go back to my root user, and I'll write chmod g plus s and the path to the shared folder. That'll turn on setGID, or setGroupID, and now anything created in that folder will have the group of the folder rather than of the user that created it. If I were using octal permissions, I could use a 2 to represent setGID, and follow that with permissions that I wanted the folder to have. But the symbolic way lets me add setGID without affecting the other permissions. I'll switch back to the Mike user, and again go back to the shared folder. And I'll test this out like before. I'll write touch file2. And let's take a look. And in this case, this file has the group of finance. And because we set group write in this whole folder, anyone that's in the finance group would be able to read and write this file. Let's test that out. I'll switch to the Pat user. We'll check that this user can create a file with touch file3. That worked. And as the Pat user, let's try to edit Mike's file with nano file2. It looks like we can make changes. We can see that setGID is configured for this folder by taking a look at the listing for the folder, in this case ls-lh and the root. And here in the group section for shared, I can see there's an S.